pleasant good evening, folks, and welcome to the campus of Dominican High School. It's going to be a high-intensity non-district match between Dominican and the Cajuns out of Country Day. Emmanuel Peppes, joined by Skylar Ensign to bring you the action here tonight, and we're going to get right into it. Skylar, first of all, welcome, and you got a chance to talk to both coaches, starting with Coach Ibieta, and these are two teams that played each other in late September, 4 very competitive sets. Country Day came out on top, and she felt like that if they executed some of the same things tonight that were some of her keys, that they could be in pretty good shape. But you got to talk to Coach Ibieta and some of your thoughts and impressions of what she had to say about Country Day tonight.
Yeah, so Coach Ibieta is coming off a win from last night where they they swept MLK Charter 3-0, and basically what she said is she wants to carry over her momentum from that game to this one. She does realize that this game will be a battle, that it will be very high intensity, but she's told me 3 keys that are really important to pulling out a win off of this game. She wants to control the game's tempo. She wants their offense to run fast-paced, but the way that they would be able to do that is if they are able to control their passes on serve receive. Her second key is that she wants her team to serve tough, get the opposing team out of system so that they aren't able to run a fast-paced offense, and so that her blockers are able to get set up before on defense before the other team swings. And then she wants to out-hustle Dominican so that they are unable to, beat them during those long rallies.
And we're talking about 2 very experienced teams. Of course, Country Day with 8 seniors, Dominican with 11 seniors, and you see all their pictures up on the rafters here, or up on the wall here. And just talking with Coach Chatelier and her impressions of tonight's match. Of course, Dominican dealing with a couple of injuries, but overall, some of the keys that you were able to gather from Coach Chatelier and what she wants to see from her team tonight.
Yeah, so their middles are very crucial to the game's offense, and she wants to keep running those at a fast pace, along with she wants to see a fast pace from her pin hitters. Those were her 2 main keys on offense, is to get the ball rolling, get a good pass off of serve receive, and get a good set to her pin hitters so that she can beat the blockers on the opposing side of the net. And then she also wants a strong serve receive, which is very, very crucial if we have Country Day serving tough at them. She wants her passers to lock in on the serve receive so that they can run that fast tempo on offense.
It's Dominican and it's Country Day, and it's coming up in just a couple of minutes. So we're really talking about a little bit of contrast of styles and really contrast of goals here with, of course, Coach Ibieta talking about wanting to control tempo, while Coach Chatelier really wants to kind of up the pace like he talked about and really kind of start with the middles and be able to expand out to the pins. And really, when it comes down to it, it's going to come down to serve and serve receive to be able to see who dictates that tempo here tonight, isn't it?
Right. Well, there isn't a game without a serve or a pass, so you really need to focus on that serve, staying consistent yet aggressive so that you're able to get the other team out of system and they cannot be able to run the ball. And then on serve receive, that's the start of the point on offense, so you got to be able to get a good pass to your setter so that you can run that fast-paced offense.
So 2 teams that know each other very well. Of course, we mentioned that they played each other back in late September, and these are 2 teams that are no stranger to holding up that state championship at the end of the year. Country Day comes in with a mark of 22-4, and in the unofficial LHSA latest Division 5 power rankings, they are number 1. Meanwhile, Dominican coming in with a record of 21-7. They are currently 3rd in a Division 1 power rankings. So you have 2 teams here tonight with a lot of pedigree, a lot of past experience, and like we said, a lot of experienced players on both sides that certainly know each other well from a lot of past meetings, adding just a little bit more fuel to this match tonight.
Right. I think what it's really going to come down to in a high-intensity game like this is who is able to keep that aggressive mentality, who's able to lock in and focus on the ball, not let the next point or the point previous to the next one get in their head, so that they're able to push forward and, just keep the momentum going throughout the whole game.
Dominican has won 4 consecutive state championships in Division 1. Country Day has won every state championship in Division 5 dating back to 2016. 2 programs of very high caliber getting ready to go at it tonight. We're going to step aside. They're going to have a prayer and a national anthem. We'll come back after that and get you set for the opening serve right here on CrescentCitySports.com. We'd like to welcome you back, folks, here to the campus of Dominican High School, and we are just about set and ready to go with both teams out on the floor, and it's already been a very fun, loud, raucous crowd, and the ball hasn't even been served up yet as we take a look at the starting lineups. Emmanuel Peppers joined by Skylar Ensign, and a lot of experience like we've talked about with so many seniors on each side of the net. And just going through, Rachel Zamjan is going to be up front in the middle for Dominican, along with, and actually Country Day is going to get ready to serve here. Molly Baker will go through the lineups when we can, but Country Day serves. It is received, set from Zamjan to the middle, goes deep, and that is down for a kill. And a nice early kill there from Bailey Corrett, and Dominican able to get on the board first. A nice side out there to start for Dominican.
Yeah, it looks like she came out of the middle, which is surprising because it looks like she's actually playing middle as an outside hitter, which is not normal. Oh, there we go. She's playing right side. Serve over, and it's a free ball, and actually touches there as Zamjan kind of caught a little bit in between, so the free ball winds up a point for Country Day. A little bit unorthodox, but you'll take it any way you can get it. Serve over, and that is received here by Baker. Going to be set here. A lean into it. That one is almost dug out, but cannot. But it was played into the net, actually, and that's going to be a point for Dominican, and that was Zoe Mitchell who got in on the tally, and that's her first kill of the evening here, 2-1 Dominican. Zoe Mitchell is leading her team with 3 kills per set and with total kills, and that's 251. Serve on the line, set it outside the pin. That was an early attempt there by Loomis that was dug out. Left-handed swing goes into the net there. That one from Rainey Smith, and it turns it right back to Country Day on the side out. So 4 rallies, not much in it. And Smith just didn't really catch that ball, it seemed like, at its highest point there. It's kind of funny to have a left-handed middle. That is not something you see commonly on the court. Checking in as a service substitution is defensive specialist Hayden Moore, a junior on the Cajuns roster. Trips the tape, and that winds up being an ace. Competitive serve, but just a little bit low, but it rattled the tape so violently, and Maya Bruglio tried to compensate for it, but it could not, and she fell right in front of her. Another line drive serve. This one goes clean over. Nice reception here to set it up to the outside. A little tap over. That one was dug out there by Country Day. That was Schneider. The swing, that's dug out in the back row, and then a tap over, kind of pinballing around, and now a shove back over here. That was dug out. Set to the middle here. A sliding dig that time. That was Isaacs. Here's a swing deep, and that one's going for a kill. That is Singleton on the outside there. So a little bit of a scattered rally there, Skylar, but it works for Country Day, and a point for the Cajuns to make it 4-2. Again, we're seeing a lot of offense out of the middles on both sides of the net. Just showing us how at such a young age, middles are crucial to the offense of the game. Hayden Moore served it into the net that time. A service error. Now a service substitution on Dominican side. Aurora Tortorich is going to come in as a service substitution for Bailey Corrett. Tortorich standing serve. This is short. Having to run up to get it that time was Moore. Here's a swing deep that goes too long that time. And a point for Dominican. Of course, this is easy to say, but just being able to cut out on some of those unforced errors like we saw on that occasion, where there's going to be some razor-thin margins here tonight. Right, especially as the game gets closer to the end. That will be crucial for the team and whether they are winning or losing this set. 2 block continuations here as Country Day cannot pass the Dominican front line, and then it's just popped right back by Zoe Mitchell, just pushed deep to where nobody could get it for the Cajuns there. Dominican's block making a difference there. Didn't actually get a block in that rally, but it was as good as one for Mitchell there. Really good defense along the net by Zoe Mitchell. And then the short serve that time works for an ace for Tortorich, and Dominican has surged ahead here, 4 consecutive points in a row. And now Country Day, what do you see from them to be able to adjust to this shorter serve that Tortorich is giving them? Well, you want to scoot up, that's for sure, or you want to have your libero or a front row player actually take a step back and try to take that shorter serve, but then they go deep on that play. Right on cue, and then this one trickles back over on Dominican's side. Here's a bump set to set it up for Bruglio, and Maya Bruglio
Well, we talked about all of the seniors, and Briglio, one of them for Dominican. She gets the kill there, and it's a point for Dominican, and it's 7-4. This run continuing now at 5 straight.
As well as a key offensive player, Maya Briglio is also a key component when it comes to serve receiving with 248 serve receive passes.
A serve there, and that time it was for Country Day, going with the off-speed shot, Leah Beverly. And Beverly is now going to track back to serve as the Cajuns got stuck in a rotation there for a moment. First time we've seen that here tonight on either side. And now Beverly to serve, 7-5, but Country Day is serving down a pair. Deep serve that's going to be received by the libero. That's Lauren Pipitone. Here's a swing deep. Beverly digs that one out. And a tap over the block, but that one dug out there on the front row. Here's Briglio. Block back but continued, and then just an overpass back to Country Day's side. Now back to Dominican. Here's Briglio again, and she finds a seam. And just textbook there on the placement, finding that seam in between the back row.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive offensive hitting from Briglio as kind of a smaller player, too. She's able to get up high and snap down on that ball, getting that ball in the deep seam.
And then a serve into the net, so a service error, and it gives it right back to Country Day here. Maggie Schneider, the setter for the Cajuns. It's back to serve. Standing serve over. Pipitone receives. Going to be set outside the pin. There's Briglio, and Briglio is unquestioned right now, the hot hand. And let's talk about the sets here that have set up some very good swings here from Briglio, because that certainly has made a difference here in this early portion of the match.
Well, the passes are good. They're right over to the target, and it's leading the blockers to split on the opposing side of the net. So Briglio has that line drive open.
Zamjan served. That was received, and now set it up for just a tap over deep. Zamjan was able to dig that one out. Here's a swing, and that one is blocked back emphatically there. That time it was Jane Gamble and Marley White who got the biggest piece of that one for Country Day, and a point for the Cajuns.
Yeah, really good timing on the block there. They were able to set up their defense in time to be able to get that block.
9-7 here in the first set. Dominican still with the lead. Tape tripping serve was received by Briglio. Set to the middle. That was blocked but out of bounds. And Dominican with the point there. Off of the kill by Miley Clayton. And Dominican now with a 3-point lead, and Briglio, who already has 3 kills this evening thus far, is back to serve. Just getting underneath it there was Schneider, then tapped over. That's a pretty easy dig there in the front row. Blocked back, but a continuation that time. Here's a swing from Baker. That's dug out on the back by Addison Lonnie. Here's a swing. That one kind of pinballs around, and just a free ball back over. Can Country Day take advantage on the middle? They cannot. The Cajuns there trying to just kind of hit around was Marley White. Not able to get that one to go, and Dominican with the early momentum here at 11-7. Deep serve, and that one goes out, so Country Day can take a little bit of a breath and a reset here, because Dominican right now, they've been able to get to that fast-paced offense that you talked about before the match.
The service pressure is really amping up. They are staying aggressive, but the importance, can they stay consistent and keep that serve in?
Lonnie, a very tough serve. It's just an overpass on the reception that time. Here's a swing leading into one, and again, that one is dug out for Dominican, and that was by Pipitone. Now back on Country Day's side. Beverly taps it over, but Pipitone able to get there. A little tap over the block, change of speeds. Country Day able to stay with it, but just a free pass back to Dominican. Zamjan's going to set slide play, and that is going to be a kill. A nice athletic slide there by Miley Clayton. Executed very well. The timeout here called by Country Day. And just talk about that, what we saw there. Being able to set there on the slide, and it's such a timing play, right. And Dominican was able to execute that well on that occasion.
Well, Coach Chatelier was talking about the importance of running the middle, but running them around the court is what will drive them to split the blockers on the opposing side of the net. It is crucial that they continue to do that throughout the game, not just setting 1s and 3s, but also setting them behinds maybe for what I would call an A or a slide, which is what we just saw there, which distracts the blockers, thinking that maybe it will be pushed to the outside, gives the middle an opening to get that swing.
This evening's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Lamarck Ford, the #1 Ford dealer in the Metro New Orleans market. There must be a reason. First set here ongoing, Dominican leading 12-8 on their home court after Country Day won the matchup against these two sides on their home court on September the 26th. Dominican able to establish some early momentum on their side. Can they keep it here? Pipitone out of the timeout, serves one into the net. And for Dominican, just giving a few of those free points away, and now 3 service errors on their side.
We see, a few service errors within both of the teams. I think that they need to take their time back behind the service line and really key in on what area on the court they are serving.
Serve over, that was received by Baker. Set it up for a swing attempt there by Mitchell that was dug out. Back on Country Day's side, a nice diving dig to keep it alive by Bruglio. And now it's back on Country Day's side, and Beverly able to put it away for the Cajuns.
I see why Coach Ibieta mentioned that she wanted to out-hustle the other team is because Country Day does have good hustle. They are there on defense, but they did just out-hustle them in that play and was able to set up their offense really quickly, beating the opposing team's defense.
Here's a swing deep, and that one is received by Baker. There's a swing from the middle. That one was dug out on the back row. Hustling to bump set. That one was Schneider. Deep swing dug out by Pipitone that time. Here's a swing for Dominican, and that was Bailey Corrette that was dug out. Back on the Cajun side, outside the pin. Another dig by Briglio. Cross-court swing. Diving try at it. It's a free ball back over. Jousted at, and Country Day is able to return it back. Here's another try, Baker. That one, textbook dig. Here's a swing from the middle. That's dug out by Pipitone. Back over, taps over the block. One of those long rallies going, and it goes into Country Day's favor, and everybody could take a breath. We were talking about it off air before the match, and there was certainly our longest rally of the night, and I'm sure everybody's going to take just a second or two extra.
Just incredible reaction time from both sides of the court on being able to get these balls back over the net.
And now Dominican runs some quick offense, and just a quick textbook serve receive, and able to set up Zoe Mitchell that time for the kill. And Dominican back on service now, leading 13-11. Serve over, that's Lonnie, who was able to receive that one. And Beverly once again on the spot. Leah Beverly right now is the hot hand on Country Day's side. She's got 4 kills here early on, and the Cajuns right on the brink of erasing that deficit that they faced earlier in this set that grew to as many as 4.
Leah Beverly leads the team right now with 341 kills and is hitting 356.
Deep swing, Pipitone with the reception, set it up here. That's a very tight set, but able to go to the left hand that time was Mitchell. And Zoe Mitchell on the tight set that time, able to make something out of it there with the left hand and get the kill. That's her second of the night, and Dominican now back on the service line. Serve over deep, and that one just popped up and kind of in a spot in between where somebody had to take charge and take initiative, but it was just kind of a little bit of a miscommunication that time on Country Day's side, and Dominican gets a free point out of that one.
As a libero, it is your job to be loud on the back line.
Beverly goes for the swing that time and gets the point there.
I think there's a touch on either the middle or the outside block when she ran that one.
Yeah, I was looking at the line judge, who obviously signaled correctly out, but there certainly had to have been a touch there on the front row. And Beverly now with her 5th kill of this opening set. And now Beverly sends it over to Pipitone. Baker's going to set this one. Trying to tap it over was Mitchell, but she winds up grazing the tape that time, and it goes right back onto the Dominican side. Seemed like Country Day had their block pretty well established, even on the change of pace shot there by Mitchell.
Right. That's again one of their crucial components to winning this game is getting their defense set up early so that they can beat the fast-paced offense from Country Day, or Dominican, excuse me.
Briglio with the swing that time. That one was dug out. Then Pipitone with an athletic dig in the back row. Briglio another try. Goes line and is able to get it over that time, over the head of Hayden Moore, and is able to guide that one. Talk about how tough that shot can be when you're going line and you're trying to get enough height to get it kind of in that space in between.
Right. Well, normally when you go to tip, you normally go short. You know, seeing that deep corner open takes some real court vision to execute that well.
Long cross-court set that time. Briglio, that was dug out by Moore. Here's a swing that is continued there as it just trickled back onto the Dominican side. Then a diving dig by Moore for Country Day. Cages with a deep swing and a one-arm dig that time on the back. Free ball sent over by Mitchell. Now Country Day can reset in the center dump, and a nice diving dig that time by Tortorich. Now Country Day's sprawling into action here. Couple of very athletic digs, and now a swing from the middle. That one is dug out. Can be set here, and just a free ball sent over once again. Now Baker's going to set this one. A little shovel over the block, and that one goes wide of the mark that time by Miley Clayton. And Country Day wins what is certainly a very athletic point when you talk about the back row defenders and what they showed defensively and getting some very tough balls out there.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed by the one-handed digs that the defenders back there are able to, really quickly change their momentum and get the balls that are going overhead. We call that a turn and burn.
And then Dominican goes right back to that fast offense there off the good serve receive. It was Baker that time who set it up, and Clayton who was able to finish it off. And Dominican back on serve here. For Clayton, that's her second kill of the set. Dominican leading 17-15 as we're getting fairly late on now in set number one. Zamjan in as a service substitution. Received by Lonnie. Set it up in a deep corner kill that time for Country Day. And getting on the score sheet here is Marley White. And in a match where we've talked about so many seniors and so much experience, Marley White, just a sophomore, but a very promising sophomore at that.
And a very good blocker along the net, too. She does lead her team with blocks with, I believe, 341. I could be wrong, but still a lot of blocks.
As the swing that time from Clayton could not go, and now Country Day has leveled the score. They've been playing most of this set from behind, but now at level terms, it's 17 all.
Excuse me on the blocks. She leads her team with 72 blocks. I was looking at kills.
Deep serve that time for Country Day goes a bit too long, so the service error. And now checking in as a substitution here on rotation is Bailey Corrette. Dominican back in front here, 18-17. Deep swing. Lonnie is able to receive that one. Schneider going to set it up here. Digging it high there was Pipitone. Now Baker's going to try to lean into one, but she hits it middle of the net that time. It was just tough that time. Pipitone did all she could on the dig, but really a tough one to set to try to get a swing on that occasion.
Right, you're going to have to change your timing from, a normal set on the net to a out-of-system set and just wait a little bit on that one.
Swing there, and that one is blocked out of bounds, so Dominican with the point that time, and it's Clayton who scores that one.
This is truly a battle of a game. We are going point for point over here. Both teams are executing well with their defense, and we just got to see who can outlast the other.
Pipitone standing serve goes over. Schneider is going to set this one. Here's a swing that cannot go for Country Day. That time on the outside it was Gamble, and now a timeout is going to be called by Coach Ibieta. That's the last of the set here. Of course, each team allotted 2 timeouts in each set. It's 20-18. Dominican with the lead, and you talked about it, Skylar, with these two teams and how well they know each other, and of course having seen each other just about a month ago, there's certainly no secrets when these two teams face each other and with the amount of experience that they have, so certainly no surprise that we're at this point. But now, what does it take mentally when you're on the court, when you're in these situations, whether you're ahead or behind, what does it take mentally to really kind of push to that last hurdle and take this set?
You just have to want it. You just have to have the drive and the fire to execute it well. You have to not let any external factors influence you, whether it's you're back on the service line, going out and trying to have an aggressive serve, or whether it's you're waiting for the serve to come over the net to execute that first pass. You just have to really lock in, be able to focus on the ball, on the court, on your team, and kind of feel the flow of the game so that you're not creating any chaos or any unnecessary errors.
Pipitone back on the service line once again here for Dominican, who leads it by 2, 20-18 here opening set. Deep serve, received, and now two players almost collide with each other. Then a violent swing that just rolled over the tape and back to Dominican side. Then Mitchell with a try that was dug out by Lonnie. Beverly who had the hot hand, but Zamjan able to neutralize that for the moment. Tap over the block that's dug out by Schneider. Here's going to be a swing by Gamble, high over the block, but easily dug out middle back. Here's a swing from Mitchell off the block touch, and there was Schneider. Swing on the other side, and that one dug out by Briglio. Here's one outside the pin that goes line, and it winds up being a point for Dominican. And that is Bailey Corrette with the kill, and Dominican with a spurt in the very, very critical juncture here, now leading by 3.
Definitely those drives into the line seam or the angle seam have been going down more often than the others.
Here's a swing by Beverly. Couldn't get a lot on it. It was blocked back, but continued. Here's a try cross court that goes for Country Day, and that is Lucy Loomis. I haven't called her name a whole lot, but Loomis able to get on the board here, and a critical side out here for Country Day to get service back here, trailing by a pair.
Lucy Loomis is a very young player, actually. I have it written down here that she's in 8th grade.
Yes, and to be able to be out on the court in these types of situations and to have that trust already as Beverly gets another kill for Country Day. That's her 6th. But to be out on the court in those situations as such a young player, just a small portion of speaking to the talent and the trust level the coaches have in her.
She's definitely excited to get the opportunity to see some court time.
Serve over, that's received by Pipitone. Here's Mitchell. That one could not be dug out by Lonnie. And Zoe Mitchell with an important kill for Dominican. Stops the rally attempt for Country Day. And Dominican now leading by 2. It's 22-20. Molly Baker back to serve here. Baker, high serve over, receive. Schneider's going to set Beverly. Off the block touch there, it was dug out. Here's a swing from the other side, and that's going to be a kill. Trying to stop that one on the block touch. The front row could not. Rainey Smith with the kill for Dominican. Lefty going from the right side that time. Big point for Dominican, now 23-20.
Lucky to have a lefty on the right side, so she's got her inside arm during the swing and able to hit down that line.
Lonnie, the serve reception goes a bit sideways. Country Day out of system, so just a free ball sent over. Here's a swing, this time from the middle by Smith. Nice diving dig by the Cajuns, though. Another try, Loomis. That one was dug out that time by Corrette. Here's a try, Country Day again wise to the task. Loomis tries to push it deep. Pipitone chases it down somehow. Smith, Lonnie in perfect position to dig that one. Here's another try on the outside block. Continued, but could not be any further. And Dominican wins a very hard-earned point. They tried to go to outside the pin there to Loomis on several occasions, but Dominican able to stick with it, and now they have set points in their hands.
These girls are not scared to get down on the court and be all over the place. It's really impressive defense from both teams.
Swing by Loomis. That's a free ball, and Beverly is able to punish that one. Well, when you have a young lady in Leah Beverly who has been, like you said, such an efficient player this season and has been the unquestioned hot hand, free ball, you know she's going to put that one down, and she did on that occasion. Big side out, and now Country Day just got to take it one rally at a time here. Line drive serve, Pipitone receives. Baker trying to set it up for the set, and Zoe Mitchell able to put it away. Dominican turns back Country Day. Critical three-point spurt that they went on, and that was the separation that they needed. Dominican takes the first set by the score of 25-21. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back in about a minute, put a wrap on this first set, and get you. We're going for set number 2 here on CrescentCitySports.com.
got asked to do volleyball. I was doing stuff with my own. I had originally done basketball and baseball, and they were like, hey, you want to do volleyball for us? And I was like, sure. And then I walked away like, wasn't that just a great city? I've never called volleyball. Like, I've watched it professionally, but I've never, like, that's the extent of what I do. The first volleyball game I ever did, I had set up the equipment, broadcast, finished. The sports information director was like, yeah, what wrong with this? And she said, tell you that you did really well. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm not crazy.
No, it's good. And then once you get it,
Welcome back to the campus of Dominican High School as Dominican took the first set 25-21 over Country Day. Emmanuel Pepis along with Skylar Ensign, and as we go through some rough unofficial stats, Leah Beverly, like we talked about, 7 kills in that opening set to really lead Country Day's offense, but Dominican able to really spread the wealth throughout several different players. We saw Bailey Corrett get involved early, Zoe Mitchell, who just had that set point as well, and they really started to go to the right side, and Rainey Smith. So this is a very diverse offense. They was able to go to some different options to close out that set. Your thoughts on the opening set, Skylar?
I thought the defense was phenomenal. The girls were able to pick up a lot of hard-driven balls that I saw going down personally. Very surprising from both sides of the team. They were able to get, a hand on a shot or a drive, and they were able to pick it up really, really well and set up a good offense. Even though some of the plays were out of system, the hitters were able to have a good approach, swing high, swing deep, and, keep their rallies going.
Looks like we do have one change on Country Day's side, at least to start. Zoe Sinnett is back there on the back row here. Looking out on the court, doesn't look like there's really any other changes here from either side from the starting lineup. And you kind of figured as much, like we talked about. This was a set and a match that going into it, you knew there wasn't going to be a lot in it between these two sides that have such a history and such a state championship pedigree.
And then one of their leaders on Country Day, Leah Beverly, is actually a UAB volleyball commit going to University of Alabama, Birmingham. Congratulations to her. That's a huge accomplishment, and I can't wait to see how her volleyball career progresses.
Absolutely. The opening serve there from Bruglio goes deep and long in a service error. Country Day gets the first point of the second set.
During the timeouts, I can only imagine the coaches, telling the players to try to limit their service errors and their serve receive mistakes so that they can focus on, keeping the mistakes to a minimum on their side of the court.
The swing by Loomis that time hits the antenna, so Dominican with the point. Sometimes you'll hear coaches talk about competitive serving, but even then there's a balance there. But I think some coaches will live with, look, we can live with service long, but the service is short that wind up going into the net. That becomes kind of a process issue, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's not even a chance that, the back row is going to try and touch that ball. There's been many times where teams have served and it could be long or it could be in, and you just don't know, and you have to go and you have to try and pass that ball regardless.
As Country Day gets the point there on that last rally, here is Julian Isaacs to serve. Deep serve, handle, but that's going to be a tight set by Zomjan. It was blocked by Mitchell, but continued. Here's a swing from the back. Nice diving dig again for Country Day, and here's Loomis cross court with the kill.
That was her second cross-court swing, I want to say, again from the 8th grader. Super impressive to see someone so young, feel so confident out on the court, being able to get up during those sets and swing hard so that she can't be stopped by the opposing defense.
Serve goes deep, and that one goes wide, actually, for Country Day.
Again, I think it's just crucial to take some time back there on the service line and, have kind of a pre-serve routine before you go up to serve.
High serve, Loomis receives it, but that's a tight one there, and that's going to wind up being a point for Mitchell. They call the violation there on Country Day's side, and that was, I believe, the setter, Schneider.
I believe they are arguing that the blocker went over the net during the set, so the setter didn't have the opportunity to set the ball.
And now the down ref has gone to the head official here, and we'll see what transpires if they come to the same agreement.
Yeah, that's always a tricky one. I want to say that I didn't think it was an over. I thought that the ball was 50-50 on the net and that the blocker did a good job in pressing and making sure that overpass didn't end up on their side, but we all see things differently when it comes to these close calls.
And so many of those, like you mentioned, it's very hard at times to be able to catch it with the naked eye, especially when you're talking about offenses that are fast-paced, so the ball is naturally going a little bit faster as well. And now Both officials still conversing here, so we may have an opportunity here for a potential replay if they can't come to an agreement.
Right.
Seen that happen here before, but the original call was a point for Dominican, and it is a replay.
It's tough without the on the net GoPro cameras, isn't it, and the challenges.
Absolutely. And Dominican now will serve once again here on the replay. So the point taken away. Country Day still leading at 3-2. Baker's serve. That's Lonnie with the reception. Schneider's going to set this one up for Beverly. And Leah Beverly, we've seen her power and pace, but we can see her change speeds as well. And she did on that occasion. Just such a versatile variety of shots that she has in her arsenal.
She is such a great player and such a key component to Country Day's offense. She was chosen to participate in the 2024 Senior All-Star Game, which is such an honor, and I bet something she is super, super proud of.
Swing through the block touch that time. Lonnie was able to dig. Here's a try, and that one is blocked back. And that was Mitchell and Smith who were in there as well for the block for Dominican.
What a block by her. That was really good timing, able to go over to the opposing team's outside hitter and press on that angle swing.
Aurora Tortorich is now in. Short kind of angle serve was received, and now Beverly was blocked, but it is continued. Beverly another try, and again, she had to reach back for that one and still is able to tap it over the block. And again, just precision there on that shot by Beverly that time.
Right, she is such a powerhouse. They actually have, or Dominican has all three of their hitters going up to block along the net when she's hitting, leaving that court, the short court open for her to tip right over the block.
Beverly's serve, just getting underneath it was Pipitone. Here's Smith with a try. That one was dug out that time, but a free ball just sent over as it rattles the tape on the way by. Briglio trying to shove it over. Schneider with the dig, but it's continued back on Dominican's side. Then a joust at the net. Back for the Cajuns. Schneider's going to pop it over. Dug out on the back row. Here's a try again from Briglio cross court that was dug out. Here's another try for Country Day that winds up a point as it went off of the block and out of bounds on Dominican's side. Hope Singleton with the kill there, and the Cajuns with a 6-3 early advantage here. Singleton, her first kill of the night.
Yeah, she has seen some more court time this year. I believe she's a senior, and she's been seeing, the court a lot more recently than she has in the previous seasons.
Pipitone with the reception. That one was dug out in the back row off the swing. That was Singleton again. Pipitone digs one more time. Here's a pushover, but that one was dug out. Now a try for Country Day from White. That was handled by Dominican that time. Beverly with a dig on the back row. Then it's jousted for and back on Country Day's side. Set to the middle for White, and that was Pipitone who digs. Briglio another try at it, and there's a kill as Hayden Moore just wasn't quite square on the ball that time, and maybe was a little bit taken off there by that deflection off of the tape on the way by.
Yeah, I just think that the ball did end up hitting the tape, and she was probably, really planted and ready for a hard-driven swing. Wasn't ready for something that was going to come high to her chest.
Deep serve. Singleton tried to receive it. She backtracked, though, and she popped it a little bit behind her. Winds up being a service ace for Dominican, and that is Zoe Mitchell.
Zoe Mitchell has a really, really impressive jump float serve. You can see the ball move as it crosses the tape, kind of changing up the direction and the speed of where it's going to land.
Swing that time was dug out by Tortorich, and then a swing for Dominican winds up being a kill on the point.
There's a lot of tools, a lot of blocking going on throughout this game. Really, really good pressure along the net from both sides.
Serve over, that was received, and then just getting underneath it was Schneider. Here's a try by Singleton, and that was met at the net. Rainey Smith was there for the block for Dominican.
We have Zoe Mitchell back to serve again. Her serve is just, creating a lot of chaos on the other side of the court with the serve receive.
Serve over, received, and now Schneider's going to set this one low. White pushes it deep and long, and that winds up being a point for Dominican, and a timeout here for Coach Ibieta. Country Day has seen 5 straight points go up on the board on the home side. And Dominican has an 8-6 lead here in set number 2 with a 1-0 lead in the match. This evening's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. Treating more than 30,000 athletes a year with innovative treatments for sports injuries. Visit oshner.org/sportsmed to learn more. Skylar, let's talk a little bit about the block as well and kind of the comparison between the two sides. And we haven't seen a whole lot of total blocks, but we've kind of made note of Dominican and how their block has really kind of been able to send Country Day scattering maybe just a little bit more here tonight.
Right. Well, I think that, there's a lot of good coverage on the blocks from the defense just being so prominent throughout the game. But a block is a block, and I think that the player still really feels the block, even if it is covered and it is picked up and they win the point. They still know that that block presence is there, and it can be intimidating when going back up to swing.
Once again, Mitchell back to serve. She sends it deep over. Singleton receives that one. White, it just fingertips the block that time. Back to Briglio. Now a try by Smith, and that winds up being double contact as having 2 bites of the apple that time, or trying it, was Marley White.
There we see what Coach Chatelier really wanted her offense to be doing, is running it fast, so the block was not able to set up in time.
Serve over, that is received and is going to be set up here. Just having to shuffle her feet to readjust was White. Dug out on the back rope. Briglio outside the pin. That one's dug out by Lonnie. Schneider center dump that time, and that works like a charm. Country Day has tried that on a couple of occasions. Dominican has been able to cover it. That's the first time that Schneider able to get one down for a kill.
Yeah, that's the first time I have seen that executed. Always a smart decision when the blockers are really just ready for a hitter to go up and hit.
And now Schneider back to serve here for the Cajuns. 9-7, Dominican leading here in set number 2. Schneider's serve goes over. Serve received, and now Baker's going to set this one for a swing, and that one goes wide for Dominican. That was Miley Clayton with the try that time, and it goes wide out of bounds, and a point for Country Day.
She is a phenomenal hitter regardless of that mistake, and she's actually committed to Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee to further her volleyball career.
Here's a swing by Smith, a violent block by Country Day, but it is continued. Briglio sends a free ball back over. Now White with a try, and White is able to put that one down. Well, Country Day, that was one where they just had the foot on the accelerator early on, and it started with that great block. Even though it didn't go down initially, the Cajuns able to get the point on that occasion.
It's good to see a strong setter to middle connection, especially with White, still just being a sophomore. She's really able to have that good connection with her setter, which is so crucial for a middle to have.
Serve over is received and now set up here for Briglio, and Briglio with the kill, and Dominican back on serve. Maya Briglio gives Dominican the lead back, and it just feels like every time that Country Day has had that rally, every time that they could string together a few points, Dominican always has that answer.
Right. Well, Briglio has just been doing a really good job with, getting outside on her approach and being able to come back in for the set and swing down that line, which they've had trouble digging. She's scored a few down that line.
Here's a try by White, and that one goes long out of bounds, and Dominican with Zamjan, who came in as a service substitution. She gets the point for Dominican off of the attack error. And now she serves again. Serve received, and now a pretty tight one-handed set. And then White was turned away, and it winds up eventually going down. Clayton was there along with Briglio right at the front of the net, and Dominican leading 12-9.
Just a little bit of miscommunications between the defenders on that last touch of the ball. I think that that Country Day's libero was there, but she just needed to be a little bit more demanding when calling for that ball.
Samjan serve received that time for Country Day. That was Gamble, and now Gamble a cross-court try. That one was dug out that time. Now a swing by Briglio, and off the block touch, it winds up eventually going down for the Cajuns.
We see Marley White again leading with 72 blocks for her team. She's been a really crucial asset when it comes to defense on the net.
Dominican leading 12-10. Singleton serve. That's a very tough serve. Winds up being an over and a free ball for White. That one was dug out. Sprawling dig out the back that time. Free ball sent right back. Schneider going to set this one back this time, and it winds up being Gamble who puts it away for Country Day.
Country Day is doing exactly what Coach Ibieta wants them to be doing, and she wants them to be keeping their tempo, keeping their flow on their side of the court, and creating chaos on the opposing side.
Line drive serve trips the tape and winds up being an ace for Country Day.
These serves are just so powerful and so aggressive that occasionally they will run into the equipment and trickle over the net, which always is a good benefit of having just such a powerful serve.
Now the tough serve goes sideways, and Dominican, that time with Finley Nunez having to adjust to that one. Country Day could set it up here for White. They do, but it's dug out. Here from the middle, off a block touch that time. It is continued off of Clayton's try, and it winds up being a point anyway for Country Day as Nunez did not get that one over. And now a timeout is going to be called by Coach Chatelier. And the service right now of El Nunez for Country Day making a difference, and the Cajuns now in front 13-12. Even though this has been such a tight match throughout set number one and, of course, early portion of set two, Country Day has seen themselves behind for a lot of this one. And now we talk about the mental aspect of it. Going to a timeout where you know you have your opponent kind of on their back foot. Now is the point where Country Day really has to capitalize on that momentum.
Right. Now, yeah, they really need to push through and keep the momentum that they have going on right now. I think that they can do that through controlling their tempo, continuing to serve tough. You know, we see a lot of battling back and forth due to the longer service rallies, not so much point by point. But I think that as long as they just continue to play aggressively and not let up and keep the communication and the flow on their side of the court, then they will be able to gain a good lead.
And it's Ellie Nunez who's back to serve, and her serve has really caused some issues here for Dominican the last handful of rallies. Nunez is able to put it in play. Pipitone receives. Hustling to that one was Zamjan. Just a free ball sent over. So Country Day, can they take advantage here? Set the middle. That's White. And Marley White with the kill.
Again, good service pressure by Nunez. She actually has accumulated over this season 24 aces, which is a lot.
And, of course, the ace totals we talk about all the time, those are nice. But anytime you're able to get somebody out of system, it really puts them on the pressure cooker from the start. Right. Dominican able, though, to reset that time and get a good serve receive and set up their offense that time for the kill. And Dominican now can breathe a little bit of sigh of relief after breaking Nunez's service rotation.
Yeah, that was a really good out-of-system set by Rachel Zamjan, who will be attending Millsaps College in Jackson, Mississippi to further her volleyball career. Super impressive from these girls. And
right on cue, Zamjan with the set that time. That was dug out on a try by Clayton. Back on Dominican's side here off the free ball, and Lonnie trying to dig that one out. She just got underneath it. There's a swing that time by Gamble that was dug out by Pipitone. Then Country Day, or Dominican rather, tries to send a free ball back over, and two players tried to swing at it, and it winds up going a little bit wide, and the point for the Cajuns.
We're seeing Dominican getting a little bit flustered and maybe just a little bit frustrated because there's a big lack of communications. Hopefully they can focus and get back into their flow.
Lonnie's serve received by Pipitone. Set it up here, and that one splits right through the block. Powerful swing that time for Dominican there on the right side from Finley Nunez. And Dominican back on serve here, trailing by one.
Yep, there we go. That's exactly the type of flow that we are talking about.
Pipitone back to serve. Line drive serve. A little bit of a tight set for Schneider, but guess who? Schneider is able to set number 17, Leah Beverly, and she was able to take care of the rest. And the Cajuns back on serve. Huge side out. And the Cajuns now lead it by two off of Beverly, who is now in double digits with her 10th kill.
That was such great timing and connection between her and her setter. I think that she was just ready for her setter to get that ball out of the net. She trusted her, and she got up on time, was able to put it away.
Julian Isaacs, serve received that time, and now this is very tight. And not really any options that time for Bailey Corrett, who tried to chase that one down and just try to get that one over to continue the rally, but just really no real estate to work with that time for Corrett. Country Day leading by three. Isaacs, serve receive, cleaner that time by Pipitone. Here's a swing that spins off the block and down, and that's Zoe Mitchell for Dominican with the kill, 17-15.
Yeah, I think that just because they've been out of system a little bit, they haven't been able to run their middle as much, but, when they get a chance to do so, Zoe Mitchell is normally the one to put it away for Dominican.
Meanwhile, Leah Beverly, again with the change of speeds. That's at least 3 off-speed shots that she's been able to execute very well here tonight amongst her 11 kills.
Well, when Dominican has the pressure from their blockers to really press on her, she does have the opportunity to slow it down and get around that block.
Deep serve, and that one goes too long, just maybe a little bit too charged up that time was Hayden Moore on the serve. Dominican, though, will benefit from the free point here with Tortorich in as a service substitution. Country Day still leading 18-16 here in set number 2. Lonnie tracks back to serve, sends it towards Schneider for Beverly. And Leah Beverly right from the middle, able to put that one away on the good set by Schneider.
Some more stats on Beverly that we have is that she was an all-district first team last season, the 23 and 24 season. She was also Division V All-State team.
Serve received by Pipitone. Now set it up for Smith. Good block, and then trying to hustle it down was Briglio, but she could not. That was a thunderous block up there at the front there for Country Day. That was Nunez and White as well.
Really takes a very strong team mindset to be able to come out of a first set loss and come back from being down too in the beginning of the set and take over and get the lead and push through till the end of the game or the set.
Meanwhile, we've talked about Beverly with the offense, but how about the defense with the dig on the back row? And the Cajuns wind up winning a point, and now Dominican calls timeout. That's their last of the set. Country Day now in a pretty comfortable position at the moment, 21-16. Leah Beverly unofficially right now at 11 kills, but when she's rotated back row, she's been able to make some impact here in a couple of rallies with her defense and a couple of digs, being able to keep rallies alive for the Cajuns.
Yeah, I bet originally, she's put back there because she's got a strong, aggressive serve, and that's necessary for her team's success on the service line. But it's really uncommon to see a middle going back row, staying and playing back row. So, you have to have some defense in you as a middle, and she clearly does, which makes her such a versatile player on the court.
And you talked about the versatility, and what else stands out is her body control. And I think that goes to the off-speed shots that we talked about, but really that's kind of translated to the play that she's had on the back row as well. And you talked about her service and how tough it could be as well. Just a very versatile all-around player that could do so many different things for you.
Right, she's very high IQ on the court. She's really good at reading the ball well on offense and along with defense, which makes her perfect, to take a step up and progress to the next level of her career by going to play for a college.
Having a stoppage here. Oh, I see what's going on here, I think. So there's something that maybe spilled.
Oh, I think the fans are just too close to the court.
Yep, this. A few people were kind of looking at the floor, so I don't know if anything had spilled initially, but yep, that's the fans there that they're just kind of asking to move back up into the stands. And volleyball, of course, it's such a closed and contained, very loud crowd that sometimes can get very on top of the action.
Right.
Serve over, Pipitone just gets to that one, and that's a free ball going to be sent back over here. Schneider's going to set this one in the middle for White. Just kind of punched there on the back row by Tortorich. Now another dig by Beverly. I believe that's her third. White taps that one around the block, but that was dug out. Now a swing and a joust, block back, but continued as White able to turn it away initially. Then Briglio able to put it away for Dominican.
Briglio's just so long and lengthy. She's got such a really high reach on her arm swing, and she's able to, use her arms as kind of a whip to bring that ball back down. We've seen a few really good kills from her, especially someone, who kind of lacks the height of an outside hitter.
Deep serve, Lonnie receives. Schneider going to dump this one over. Dominican wise enough to it, and then Smith. That was dug out by a sprawling Schneider. Now Singleton a try. That one's dug out by Mitchell, but very tight at the net, and that's going to be 4 hits.
Yep.
very tough to play it off the net, especially when it just kind of scrapes like that. It's just so tough to be able to play off the net to try to keep that ball alive.
Well, your coaches teach you that you got to get super, super low, and then you kind of just have to sit there and wait for the ball to come back down. But it's always hard to do when there's just so much chaos on the court.
Serve over, receive, going to be set up here. Just kind of a reach back by Clayton that was dug out. Now going to lean into one. I believe that's Singleton, and that was Pipitone to dig that one out. Here's Smith. High block touch and a one-hand punch by Lonnie, but it could not be kept alive further. Rainey Smith able to get the point for Dominican, and now 22-19, Country Day still leading, but we've seen both of these teams have the ability to go on different spurts with some service rotations, and now Zamjan in for Dominican. Deep serve received that time by Moore. Set it up here for a swing by Gamble. And Gamble able to put that one down for the Cajuns. We've started to see Gamble get a little bit more involved in this Country Day offense here in set number 2. She's had 4 kills in this set, and a big one right there for Country Day.
I've seen a few angle swings from her. It was nice to see kind of a line seam swing, that went down, and I think that they just weren't ready for it.
Here's a tap over that time. That was adjusted to enough by Schneider. And now we got a whistle and a stoppage here. And that is, I believe they got 4 hits. Country Day was appealing for a touch on Dominican side, I believe.
I just think that Jane Gamble swung into the net, and it looks like Coach Ibieta was hoping that maybe Dominican did get a touch on that swing, but I do not believe that there was one.
So Dominican with the point here. Deep serve. Lonnie tracks back to receive it. Schneider sets it up for White off the block. That one was dug out that time by Corrette. Here's a swing that's blocked and eventually down. And there's Gamble on the right side along with Marley White. Jane Gamble and Marley White combining to give Country Day set points.
Gamble's really making up for that previous error in the last point with that big block.
Lonnie's serve that time goes into the net, so if Country Day is going to win this set, they're going to have to side out to do it. Dominican trailing by 3. It's 24-21. Country Day on the brink of extending this to what would at least be a 4-set match here tonight. Pipitone sends it over, and 2 Cajuns went for the same reception that time, and it winds up being an ace.
If there is a player on Dominican that can take their team back to tie it up, being down 24-21, it would be Pipitone back on the service line. She leads her team right now with aces. She has 30, and she leads her team with serve receive with 442.
Country Day leading 24-22. When you talk about these types of moments, and when you're on Dominican side here, you talked about Pipitone and her service and how tough it is. But just being able to process each rally one at a time, because you can't get to what was 3, now 2, without getting that first one. And for Dominican mentally, just being able to process that and compartmentalize everything to just each single rally.
Right, as a player, you don't want to think about the future, but you also don't want to think about the past. The point that you need to key in and focus on is the one going on right now. Don't let the point before it or the one that you hope to come after affect the play that is happening in the present.
Pipitone out of the timeout. Nobody has any timeouts left in this set. Serve receive. Schneider from in tight for Beverly. And it is just punched, but could not be kept alive further. Leah Beverly is able to close out the set for Country Day. And the Cajuns take the second set 25-22. We knew we were going to have an intense one, and it is tied at a set apiece as we will turn the page to set number 3. But first, a quick timeout. We'll be back in just a moment here on CrescentCitySports.com.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it. Anybody who I work with in Gwinnett will tell you, like, even at baseball, I'm standing the entire game.
Honestly, I feel like I like it a little bit better than sitting. I just get so, like, I don't even know, just maybe like almost on.
Oh, yeah. Like, I can't sit for too long. It's just like, oh, yeah.
Welcome back, folks, to the campus of Dominican High School. And a reminder, we'll have more high school volleyball live on Crescent City Sports right back here from Dominican next Tuesday as New Orleans' biggest rivalry is renewed when Dominican plays host to Mount Carmel. Coverage begins at 5:20 p.m. next Tuesday, October the 29th, right here on Crescent City Sports. Meanwhile, in the here and now, Dominican and Country Day, really nothing in between these two teams after Dominican took the first set at 25-21. Country Day with a great response at 25-22 to take this set. And what Dominican was able to do, Skylar, from the outset when they had that big service rotation to get ahead and never really lost the lead, even though they were tied a couple of different times, Country Day kind of turned that around and reversed it on Dominican in that second set.
Yeah, I think that the team just knew that they needed to, get their lead back. They took it point by point, and then they were able to take it even further and carry on the game with about a 3 to 4 point lead throughout the rest of the game.
Country Day will be on the service line here to start set number 3. We were here for the JV match, actually, that preceded this. That was 2 sets, but 2 very competitive sets, including the first one that went extra rallies. I believe it was 27-25, if I remember correctly. Dominican wound up winning that match as Lonnie's serve received by Pipitone. Zamjan set, and winding up with the kill there is Miley Clayton.
There we go. There's the momentum that Dominican needs to get back into this game and hopefully catch their lead back.
And now Pipitone back here to serve after Dominican slides out to start the set. Bit of an awkward reception, and that's going to wind up being an ace. As off of a tough reception that time, it wound up being Lonnie and Gamble who both tried to compensate for that initial serve reception.
Just a little bit of miscommunication between the libero and Gamble.
Serve received. Schneider is able to get underneath this one. Loomis hits it too deep and out. And Dominican with 3 consecutive points, but a couple of unforced errors here on Country Day's side. Both teams are just so technically sound that we talked about it. Those unforced errors are going to be magnified that much more tonight. Serve received, running it down. Schneider, deep swing from Gamble, and she winds up getting to go. She was well behind the 10 that time, but Gamble able to put enough power that time to get it through Zoe Mitchell for the kill.
Gamble's a tall girl. She's a tall player. She's got a really, really great high reach. I've seen a few backcourt swings that she's had that have gone down, and they've just been very impressive.
Serve received by Briglio. Set it up here to the middle. That one was dug out that time. Here's a swing by Loomis cross court, and that one was dug out by Corrette. A try there, and that winds up being a kill, and that is Molly Baker.
Again, another shorter player on the shorter side who's able to get up really high and snap down and be able to get that angle swing so that it does land.
Baker back to serve here. Dominican with a 4-1 lead early in set number 3. Short angle serve that time. That was Loomis who covered it. Now Loomis is going to try to swing at it, and she hits it into the net.
The short serve can be very effective throughout the game, especially if on the opposing side you have some players that aren't used to passing on serve receive.
Baker serve. This one goes much deeper into another side of the court. Now a swing by Beverly, and Leah Beverly with her first kill of the set. And Country Day right back on the service line.
She just reaches so high on top of the ball. She's higher than the block, and that's what propels her to get up and get that ball going, having that downward kind of trajectory.
Hayden Moore serve received by Pipitone. Now going to set it up here just in front of the 10, and that was Corrette with the kill. We saw Bailey Corrette get involved a little bit offensively early, and now getting the kill, and out of the service substitution here, Aurora Tortorich in her place, but not before Corrette gets a kill to side out here for Dominican. Tortorich, high angle serve. Tough for Country Day. They managed to get it back over, though. Tortorich was there. Mitchell rattles the tape, dug out by Singleton. Here's a try by Beverly, a block continuation. Now going to be another try from Singleton that goes deep and out, and it winds up being a point for Dominican. And Coach Ibieta going to call her first timeout here of the set, with Dominican leading 7-2 here in set number 3. And a reminder, folks, this evening's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Game On Social Hub at 2421 Veterans Boulevard in Kenner, with a full-service restaurant, arcade games, bowling, axe throwing, and laser tag. Game On has it all. On Monday nights from 6 to 7, join Ken Trahan and special guests for a live football conversation on 106.1 FM, The Ticket. Dominican out to an early lead here, Skylar, in set number 3, and we've talked about the fact that who can establish that early momentum has really been able to keep it. What do you see on Country Day's side? Because it's really kind of been a few unforced errors that have come into play here for the Cajuns.
I think that sometimes the high from, winning a set or winning a game can get in your head a little bit, and it can cause you to kind of not really focus and start off strong going into the first set. It's really important for teams to just treat every game like it's 0-0 and every point like it's 0-0, so that you can just focus on that 1 point and just still be present even with, the momentum of winning the last game in the back of your mind.
A good block touch led to a Baker dig. Then a block continuation. Briglio another try at it. That was dug out, though. Beverly once again right from the middle, just using all sorts of angles and all sorts of different speeds. Unofficially right now, Leah Beverly's at 13 kills for the Cajuns.
Leah Beverly's just, again, she's super, super tall, but not only that, she's very fast, and she gets up very high, being able to beat the block and be able to push that ball downward.
Almost a free ball, but Dominican just able to keep it on their side, and then essentially a free ball back to the Cajuns. Now one more try here on a tap over by Mitchell that was dug out. Singleton's going to lean into one. Pipitone digs. Here's Baker to set up Briglio. That one rattles the net. No block touch and a point for Country Day.
Yeah, unfortunately that was just a little bit, I think she's just a little bit late on that set. It was a set from the other side of the court, so those are always a little bit harder to time, and she just ended up not getting there quicker.
Beverly back to serve once again. Deep serve, Pipitone receives, and now Baker going to set this one for Mitchell. That one dug out nicely by Beverly, sliding a bit to her right. Singleton's try, dug out by Pipitone, and now Smith. That one again, Beverly with the dig. Here's Singleton's try. That one was dug out by Pipitone. Now Briglio's going to lean into one. Beverly another dig, and then a center dump by Schneider for the kill.
It just seems like Beverly is everywhere and anywhere when you need her to be there. She's all over the court. She's reading the ball really well on defense, which is so impressive from a middle blocker.
And once again, back to serve. It is Beverly, who had 3 digs just in that rally alone, and now Pipitone's reception. Tight set from Baker for Mitchell, and Mitchell able to put it away for Dominican. Well, anytime it feels like they've needed a big point to kind of break Country Day's momentum, Zoe Mitchell has been one of the benefactors most of the time.
Yeah, we've seen a really strong setter-to-middle connection with Zoe Mitchell and her setters, and I think that she's a huge contributor when it comes to gaining points for Dominican.
Nunez is going to lean into one, and Ellie Nunez with the kill for Country Day. And there's a big side out there for the Cajuns, as now Gamble will come in on rotation here for Country Day. Meanwhile, it's Schneider who's back to serve.
Really smart shot location from Ellie Nunez, just putting it in between two people, like creating that lack of communication so that ball was able to land on their side of the court.
Maggie Schneider's deep serve was tracked and received by Briglio. A block touch. That one was gone back, but still kept alive on the continuation. And on the other side, again, the lefty from the right side. Skylar, you hit on that earlier in the match. Rainey Smith has a few kills from that from the right side as a lefty.
Yeah, I mean, just being a lefty on the right side gives her so much more opportunity to, swing across down that line, swing angle. It just gives her more options in general.
Swing from Gamble. That was dug out nicely in the back row, and then a double contact called on Dominican side. I believe that's the first double contact that we've had in this match. We saw one called in the JV game earlier tonight, but that just goes to the setters like you've talked about, who have had a lot of quality sets here tonight on both sides. Dominicans lead down to 2. Deep serve goes just long that time from Nunez.
And she barely missed that serve. I think that if she were maybe able to take a step back, she could still keep the pressure of that serve while also making it in.
Back to serve here. It is Briglio. Believe just an extra check of the rotation to make sure that was in order. Briglio's serve received by Lonnie. Schneider going to set this one up. That's Loomis, and trying to punch it was Baker, and then pushing that one over was Clayton. What a save by Baker on Dominican side, and it leads to the kill for Clayton.
We've seen a few really, really good one-arm ups from both Pipitone and from Baker throughout the game, and it's just really crucial for their defense to be there on those hustle plays, which they are.
Here's a swing, and that is blocked, and right there was Clayton. Clayton has made quite an impact here thus far for Dominican. She's got 2 kills and now was in on that block. 12-7, Dominican has expanded their lead. Serve trips the tape that time, but Country Day able to stay to it, and then Gamble goes right through the block. We talked about the pure strength of Gamble, and again, it shows itself as the block touch really not able to stop the momentum of that ball enough.
Jane Gamble has accumulated 175 kills and 44 blocks throughout this season.
That serve almost got up on Briglio. She stayed with it. Now Baker with a swing. That one was dug out in the back row. Gamble's going to punch one over, but there easily was Pipitone. Now a try angling that one, and that one goes for Dominican.
I want to say that ball was in. I think it just touched the line, barely went in. Again, it is hard, to tell. During really, really high-intensity games like this.
Country Day's coaches, and Coach Ibieta was standing maybe 3 feet from that one, trying to will that one for her team.
Right. I mean, sometimes you see the ball in and the other people see the ball out.
Yep.
Who knows who's right all the time.
Winds up being a point there for Clayton. And her hot start in his third set continues. Meanwhile, Gamble's swing dug out Pipitone, but that's a free ball, and Country Day able to put it away.
And able to gain back that point that they just lost in the previous play.
And that was Loomis who put it away there off of the free ball. And now Isaacs in for Gamble to serve. Serve received by Pipitone. Now Zomjan just having to shuffle her feet. That time was Baker. Easy dig on the Cajun side. Now Loomis with the kill.
Here we see Lucy Loomis, again, an 8th grader. Still amazes me till now that she's able to, get up, get ready, get her approach, and get that arm swing high over blockers that are much, much older than her.
Here's a swing over the block that time, and that one was dug out in the back row. Loomis another try. That one was dug out by Corrette. Free ball sent over by Baker. Schneider's going to set for Beverly, and that's going to be a kill. Pipitone tried to get herself in position, but just too much pace that time, and a little spin put on it by Beverly as well.
Yeah. Country Day is slowly creeping their way back into this game, hoping to eventually tie it and maybe even take a lead.
Serve over, received by Briglio. Now a set here from Mitchell. That one was dug out off the block touch, and Beverly once again. Leah Beverly with the kill. And a timeout will be called by Coach Chatelier. 13-12 is all Dominican's lead is after it was as big as 5 on a couple of different occasions here in this set. And for Country Day, you got to credit, we've talked about the hustle and the defense, and then Leah Beverly able to really show up and show out here tonight. Once again, she's had a huge offensive performance, but really a great team effort around her to set this up, this rally that's gone within 1 now.
Yeah, I think it is in Country Day's best interest to keep setting Leah Beverly on offense when they get the chance to. You see it a lot during service receive where you want to push it to the middle just because hopefully, or on a free ball because you have that pass ready and that setter ready. But I think it'd be really, really important for them to also be setting her in transition when, the blockers are scrambled and they're not set up, or the defense back there is a little bit going in chaos, and she's just able to put that ball down.
Out of the timeout here, tied at a set all. Set number 3, Dominican leading by 1, but it's Country Day who's on the service line, and it's still Isaacs who's back there for the Cajuns. Isaacs served deep, and that one, Baker got to that one in front of Pipitone. Here's a swing from deep by Corrette. Loomis able to dig that one out. Lonnie guides it toward the net for Loomis. Pipitone chases it down. Here's a swing from the middle back, and that one goes wide from Briglio.
We see that Country Day, they have the drive, they have the grit. They've come back from being down a few points in both this set and the last, and I think that really goes to show, the character of the team and the type of coaching style Coach Ibieta pushes onto them.
Tried the slide play there. Zamjan tried to set it up there, but it couldn't quite connect with Mitchell as her swing went long. Country Day now in the lead. It was 12-7. They were trailing just a moment ago. Now they've scored 7 of the last 8. To lead by 1. Serve receive. Zamjan a tight set here from the middle. That one was dug out that time. Now a pop over the block there. That was Briglio with a dig, and now Baker. That one was dug out on the back row there by Isaacs. Here's a deep swing from Loomis that was dug out. Now a try by Mitchell, and Zoe Mitchell able to get the point there for Dominican to get them back on the service line here in a tied set at 14-all.
There we go. The team's, really listening to their coach and running the middle again. So he's just been super, super crucial to the team's offense and getting a lot of points for the team. So I think it's important that Dominican keeps setting her.
Well, that time they anticipated the swing of Beverly very well, and that's a tandem block that time. Mitchell along with Rainey Smith with the block, and it's 15-14 Dominican.
That one block can, fluster a player a good amount, so let's see if she's able to be ready for her next hit.
Schneider with the setter dump that time, and she's starting to go to that one a little more. Now, she was pretty tight at the net, so it didn't feel like she had a whole lot of options that time, but Schneider able to make the setter dump work from in tight quarters. 15-all. Line drive serve that time. Briglio receives, set it up here from the outside. That's Corrette, and Corrette with the kill.
Dominicans kind of, pushing their way through their original loss of momentum due to Country Day's service lead. Hopefully they are able to pick up a few more points and take that lead back.
Tortorich, high, pretty short serve. Beverly's going to receive this one, and Beverly got a running start to it. One-arm dig, then Lonnie with a diving dig on the other side. Free ball sent over. Pipitone passes. Baker will set it up for Mitchell. Angles that one around, but a good cover that time. And now Beverly's try. Pipitone couldn't punch it up high enough. Beverly with the kill. But how about the defense that time, especially by Hayden Moore, to really set up that last ball for Country Day?
Yeah, that was a really good read by Hayden Moore on the tip. I think that zone is primarily open, especially for middles, when you have that outside hitter, that right side hitter coming into block on the one. She really was able to read the tip well.
Briglio, that was a punishing swing, and Beverly tried to punch it straight up with one arm, but it went sideways and over into the stands, and it winds up being a point for Dominican. A punishing hit there and a swing from Briglio.
She's really able to find that line seam. She's done it on multiple occasions throughout this game.
Angle serve, Dominican, or Country Day rather, tracking back to receive it, then White swing. That one goes long. Zoe Mitchell on the service line here. And you noted how she has been one of the ones who's been the toughest serve to break on Dominican side. 18-16. Dominican now leads it. Serve received, and now Schneider an opportunity to set Nunez, and that's going to wind up being a kill for Ellie Nunez.
Way to break that, having Zoe Mitchell back there. It's really important that the opposing team is able to side out quickly so that they don't put her on a serving run, because she is a very strong and aggressive server.
So it is Schneider back to serve. Serve goes over, clean reception, set it up for Smith. Trying to angle that one over, but Country Day keeps it up there. Nunez's swing. That one was dug out by Pipitone. Another try, block back, but a continuation Smith pushes it wide and deep, and a point for Country Day.
Country Day again with the pressure along the net. They're really, running their defense, or the Dominican is really running their offense quick, but Country Day is able to set up their block, and we have White being able to run to the pins to get her block set up.
Meanwhile, Baker able to set that time for Miley Clayton. Clayton's got 4 kills and a block thus far in this set. And if Dominican's going to be able to reach the wire here first in this frantic race to 25, Clayton is going to be one huge reason for that.
Clayton is leading with total blocks with 53.
And then a service ace by Zamjan. Dominican now leads it 20-18. But yeah, Clayton, we noted her early on in this set and the impact that she's made offensively, and she had that big block as well early to kind of set the tone for Dominican. And now when they've needed some points here to kind of stem the Cajuns' rally, that's where they've been able to look to.
Right, and as a middle, your primary job is to be an offensive asset, and then also to be a really big intimidating factor along the net as a blocker. And it gets tricky when you're running along the net and the offense has really a fast-paced ball moving and splitting the block. But we've seen both the middles on Dominican be able to get their feet in front of the hitter and set up the block quickly so that they can prevent stuff like splitting from happening.
20-18, Dominican leads it. Zamjan back on the service line here. The match tied at a set all. Serve, and that winds up being an ace. And Gamble looked like she took the brunt of that one, as it looked like she was going to cut over to try to receive it, then peeled off of it, and Moore was left in a tough spot.
Really sneaky down the line serve. It seems like she's able to kind of hit it across her body from Zamjan.
Now Zamjan's going to set this one back, and that's Briglio, and that's a point for Dominican. Country Day saying there was no touch there.
Yeah, and the down ref looks,
And
it looks like the down ref is confirming that there is a touch, which I did not see a touch, but that was a quick swing, and she tried to pull her arms back as quick as she could, but she may have snagged the ball just a little bit.
Meanwhile, Coach Ibieta trying to get her team to reset, and they do. Nunez with the kill, and we've talked so much tonight about the mental toughness of these two teams and the championship caliber and what that requires. Able to put that one away, file it away, and go right back to the next point and side out.
Right.
Now Country Day back on the service line with Nunez. That serve is received by Briglio, going to set it up here for Briglio, and she swings down into the net. An attack error that time, and Country Day has closed the gap once again. It's now down to 2.
I've seen Briglio, hit some really beautiful swings, but I think that on a few of these, she's just been a little late, and that she just needs to get her approach quicker to the set.
Service error that time by Nunez, and it winds up being a big point that Dominican will certainly take. They're 2 points away from taking the set here and taking that all-important 2-1 lead. Lonnie's reception, and now running it down from the front row was Schneider. Gamble just had to set a free ball over. Now a swing by Corrette, and Corrette with the kill. Bailey Corrette gives Dominican set points. They have 4 tries at it, leading 24-20.
As a smaller hitter like Corrette is, she's pretty quick, and she's able to beat the blockers on the other side of the court so that she's able to tool them and get that ball down.
Standing hit by Gamble, and that one winds up going over and just couldn't really get much of a block touch that time, could either Baker or Clayton. And Country Day able to go back to the service line now. 24-21. Dominican leads this set. Lonnie angles that one, trips the tape. Corrette receives it. Now it's set up for Corrette. It's kept alive by Loomis on the initial dig. Then Loomis punches it over. And now a whistle and a stoppage as a lift violation was called on on Dominican. And Country Day with the point. And now a timeout will be called by Coach Chatelier.
Good timeout called by Coach Chatelier. She's trying to kind of slow down. I'm seeing this game is very fast-paced, again, very high intensity. She just needs her team to take a minute, take a breath, kind of, you know, create a play, focus in on what they want to do and how they want to, for Dominican, how they want to achieve and get to this game point, set win. And hopefully they are able to do that and side out.
Dominican leading 24-22, needing a side out to win this set and take a 2-1 lead on their home court. A Country Day, both teams knowing what it takes to climb the mountain and win that ultimate prize, and having won it on so many occasions. Really is such a razor-thin margin, as we've talked about throughout the night. A deep swing here from Briglia. Lonnie digs. Schneider runs it down, but this is a tight one for Loomis. She's able to punch it over to Zamjan, though. Here's a cross-court swing. So could not be kept alive, and that was Baker with the kill, and Dominican takes the set 25-22. And how fitting that we had such a scramble and a wild rally to finish off that third set.
Right. It was a really great swing from the outside hitter down into the seam. Again, what I like to see are these pin hitters and these middle hitters, you know, finding the seam in between two players to create that kind of miscommunication and get that ball to land.
We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back in just a moment. Dominican leads the match here 2-1 after taking that third set 25-22. This is high school volleyball on CrescentCitySports.com. Set number 4 getting ready to go here in a little less than a minute's time. Dominican leading this match 2-1. And both teams are certainly going to go forward and pay attention to their divisions and what their path is going to be to hoisting another state championship. But in the here and now, tonight, it has been pretty much everything that we could ever have expected between these two teams coming in, and they certainly have delivered offensively and defensively, and just with their character and their will here tonight.
Let's see if Country Day can do a repeat of the second set and kind of take the win after their original set loss. I think they want to make that comeback. They want to use the mentality that you could see Coach Ibieta drives them and pushes them to have on the court. Just be really present, slow down the moment, or slow down their tempo, take control of the ball, run their offense fast, but also just kind of get into the flow of their game.
As both teams back out on the court, and we'll be doing here lineup checks and getting ready to start set number 4. Of course, we're back here. Crescent City Sports will bring you more Dominican volleyball next Tuesday night when Dominican takes on Mount Carmel at 5:30 p.m. Dominican ready to start set number 4 here on the service. Serve received that time and set it up here. Just a free ball that cannot be sent over. And once again, Country Day just caught out of rotation that time, and the Cajuns could not compensate for it, and Briglio with the ace.
And you can also see Briglio hustling back to the service line so she can get a serve back up again and, continue this pressure on serve receive.
Loomis tried to go line, and she makes that one work. Once again, just an 8th grader. Such a bright future, you would think, ahead, and we've talked about it for Lucy Loomis, and there another kill and just expertly taking it line that time.
Especially as kind of, still just a young and maybe on the shorter side player, she's able to get up pretty high and snap that ball down.
Could not connect there. Could Schneider with Beverly that time, and Dominican will benefit for the free point there, and they take an early 2-1 lead.
We've not seen a lot of that throughout the game. Beverly and Schneider usually have a pretty strong connection. Hopefully they can pick that back up throughout the game.
Serve receive set up here for Beverly. That one dug out in the back row by Briglio. And now a swing by Corrette was dug out by Lonnie. Here's a try from Loomis. That one dug out by Pipitone. Now a try from Baker. That one dug out in the back row. Running to get to that one was Zoe Sinet. Here's Briglio with a dig. Tight set, a joust at the net, and Beverly wins the joust there against Zoe Mitchell.
I think it's... Excuse me. I think it's crucial that during a tight set like that one, your pin hitters kind of need to come closer to where the blocker is and get ready to cover that ball, because there is a good chance that that ball is going to be blocked on a 50-50 set like that.
Julian Isaac sends that one into the net on a service error. Wanted to get back to Loomis because we talked about that line kill just a moment ago. She's really gone cross so much, really almost exclusively, but showing that change of an option there that we talked about and changing that variety of where she's approaching with her shot. And here's Loomis, and she goes that time and winds up getting the kill.
Yeah, just like you said, she's kind of confusing the defense, and she's showing that she has many different tools in her toolbox that she can pull out when needed, and it's really impressive for someone at such a young age to be able to accomplish that.
Now back to serve here. That's Hayden Moore in on rotation. Moore, line drive serve, that's an ace. Finds a seam that time between Briglio and Pipitone, and neither really called for the ball, and there wasn't a lot of time to react because there was such a hard line drive that time off the hand of Moore.
Again, I think that it is Pipitone's job as a libero in the back row to kind of be the one to yell for that ball.
And then Moore sent that one on an angle wide. Pipitone went scattering to try to run cover for it, but let it go about halfway, realizing that it was going to be out. And a point on the service error here for Dominican.
It is always our job as a player to follow the ball all the way out before you let it drop on the court.
Todorich sends it over. Lonnie hustling to her left to receive that one. Now Beverly with the swing and the kill. Leah Beverly with her first kill of the set. Unofficially have her at 15 kills for the night.
She's able to time that set really, really well. I think that they are sending her just a little bit higher because she has the reach over the block. So she's able to wait a second longer and then be able to get up on that set.
Beverly sends it over, and that one is received by Pipitone. Set it up here for the kill attempt, and that goes for Zoe Mitchell. Back and forth we go here early in this fourth set.
Yeah, and on the contrary with Zoe Mitchell, she's running a faster ball than Beverly is. Maybe she just likes it a little bit better. I know we all have preferences as middles, but that was a really fast-paced ball. The block was not able to get up in time.
Angle serve, tight set from Schneider, and that one winds up being a point for Dominican as they call double contact there on the set by Schneider. We haven't really brought this up, but Dominican really running a 6-2 here tonight. Of course, Baker and Zamjan have alternated here as the setters, so just going to that point about different preferences for different hitters. Set going for Nunez, and that one was dug out that time by Smith. Here's Briglio and sends that one into the net, and it winds up being a point for Country Day.
I've seen some of her sets get pushed out just a tad bit more, and I think she's been able to get on top of those ones more likely than she is kind of the inside sets. again, with the setters and the hitter connection, that maybe she just prefers a different set than what her setter currently is giving her.
And a service ace that time now for Schneider, who's back in the service line, and Country Day has poked their heads in front here at 7-6. Schneider once again ready to serve, sends it deep, tracking back. Dominican receives, sets it up for Rainey Smith, and that's a block. Huge block on the outside there. Gamble got to it. Marley White jumped in support there, and great anticipation that time between Gamble and White.
Yeah, Rainey Smith came in hard, but White and Gamble came in even harder and set up their block before that swing.
Baker sets this one up, and that winds up being a kill for Miley Clayton. Dominican sides out, and now Zamjan is going to check in here for Smith, and now to serve.
We can really see what Coach Chatilier means when she says that she needs her offense to be running the middles. We have seen both middles accumulate a lot of points for the team and will hopefully be accumulating more throughout the game.
Serve, and that one winds up going out, and Country Day that time, Hayden Moore looked like kind of got herself caught up in between, but did not contact the ball, managed to let it go, and it winds up drifting long. Point for Country Day, and the Cajuns leading by 2. Nunez deep serve, and that one goes long.
Again, good communications from her teammates. You know, sometimes you really just don't know. Your court awareness lacks just a little bit, and it's really important for your teammates to come in and help you see the court for you.
Back to serve here for Dominican. That is Briglio, and Country Day just getting to that one with Sinet. Now Gamble swing dug out by Briglio. Here's Corrette. That one dug out on the back by Lonnie. Reaching back for that one is White. Zamjan able to slide and dig. Corrette again. That one dug out once more. Set back this time. Gamble. Cross court. Dug out again. Zamjan all over the place. Free ball sent back over. Now for Country Day. Schneider going to set it. This Gamble. That one blocked back but continued. Cajuns still keep it alive. Here's a dig by Baker. Now a swing, Corrette again. That one dug out by Schneider in the back. Here's Gamble a try, sends it deep and out. And it winds up being a point for Dominican. And what a hustle rally on both sides of the court. Dominican winds up winning it though on the attack error.
With teams that have such like an even level of playing, it's really important for each team to just stay consistent and try to keep the ball in play, because eventually someone could make a mistake.
And then Briglio comes up with a service ace as Country Day from the back row. That time it was Sinet. She just could not get to that one in time as it was in front of her. Briglio sends it over. Lonnie gets in front of this one. Country Day, Gamble out of system set is able to make that one work. And Gamble with the kill to get Country Day back on serve and level up the score at 10.
We see Gamble on the right side as a right-handed hitter. She will tend to go cross-court a lot just because that is what we are naturally wanting to do as right hitters on the right side.
Baker, that one was blocked and eventually down after one touch. That was Gamble, that time along with Beverly. And the Cajuns leading it now 11-10.
She's a really intimidating presence on the net. She's a tall player, and she can get up very, very high, getting her arms over and being able to press very well on defense.
Lonnie's serve goes over. Pipitone receives. Zamjan's going to set this one and could not connect that time with Clayton, and it winds up being a point for Country Day. And now we're going to have a stoppage here to wipe up a wet spot on the floor. So the Cajuns leading here 12-10. I'm just going to take a moment here before we get back to play. But for Country Day, wanted to get back to Gamble because, like we talked about, you talked about the size of Beverly and her physical attributes, but Gamble, just as tall as Beverly is, and so athletic and able to move so well laterally to cover that block on the front row. And she's done that several times here tonight, a few times with White and the last time with Beverly.
Right.
As Lonnie's serve goes over, bit of an awkward reception that winds up an ace for Country Day. And now a timeout will be called by Coach Chatelier. Country Day with a very important spurt here, 3 consecutive here to take a 13 10 lead. A reminder this evening, coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Lamarck Lincoln is the only Lincoln Black Label dealership in the market. It's more than ownership, it's membership. There must be a reason. And the reason right now for Country Day leading at 13-10. Skylar, your thoughts on this last stretch here for the Cajuns and what they've been able to execute so well to now assert command here in the middle of the set?
I think it's been a variety of things. I think their service pressure has been working for them very, very well. They're creating chaos over there. I also think just their defense along the net, just what I was talking about with Gamble, she's able to press and get up, and so is Beverly. I think that those two girls being, very prominent blockers for, on the court right now will be very, very tricky for Dominican to get past them.
As here's a swing, the rally goes on, trickles and rolls back on Dominican's side off the try by Corrette. Here is a swing by Baker that winds up missing wide, and it winds up a point for Country Day. And now we're going to have a substitution here. Finley Nunez, who we saw a little bit earlier in the match, is now going to check in here for Baker. Angle serve, and that is Nunez, who they went at right away. Standing hit over. Lonnie able to track that one back pretty easily in the end. Here's Gamble, a swing. That one dug out by Briglio. Here's a try, just reaching for it. Gamble has to dive for it off of the Clayton swing. Clayton again a try, was dug out once more, and then Beverly spikes it home for Country Day.
Such a reliable player for Country Day. I think that whenever they are in, kind of chaos or in confusion, they can always rely on her for getting the ball not only onto the other side of the net, but down on the other side of the net.
And now Lonnie to serve. Gets this one over. That's Pipitone to receive. Set it up here on the outside. That one is dug out there by Schneider. Now Gamble from just behind the 10, able to be kept alive. Now it's going to be ruled dead. Double contact was called on Dominican.
Looks like that Dominican was arguing that she kind of popped it up, maybe one hand behind the other, but it's very tricky during these plays. It was possible that ball was a double.
Lonnie back to serve once again. Dominican trailing by 6 to Country Day. And that one hits the tape. I was actually getting ready to say, I believe that's been the largest set advantage that we've seen all night. And now it's down to 5 as Dominican sides out off the service error. Pipitone to serve here for Dominican. She sends it deep over. That is received and going to be set up here for Loomis. Dug out by a sprawling Briglio. Now set to the middle, and that's going to be a stoppage. There was no block touch. So the swing by Mitchell winds up being the 4th hit.
Yeah, it looks like Coach Chatelier is arguing that there was, in fact, a block touch. I couldn't really tell that well. I thought she did touch it initially, but, maybe there wasn't. Maybe it just hit the top of the tape, came back down pretty fast. Because the trajectory of the ball came down pretty hard, I would imagine that it would have come down a little bit softer if there wasn't a touch on the block.
And now both officials are discussing this. We've had a few calls that have been called into question, and one that actually wound up being a replay as both officials seemed to not be able to come to an agreement on a call earlier. That was in the second set. And now it's a pivotal moment here because you're talking about the difference and a replay. So the second replay we're going to have tonight here. And again, like you talked about, it's just so tough to tell those things in real time, especially with how fast the ball in these offenses are moving.
Yeah, and again, and as coaches, you kind of see things differently just because you have that bias of you see it for the benefit, or you want it to be for your team versus the opposing team. It's hard to stay neutral as a coach when arguing these.
Pipitone to serve, so back to 16-11. Serve receive, Schneider's going to set this one. This for Gamble in front of the 10, and Gamble powers that one through the block. Just so strong is Gamble, and we've seen that on so many occasions. We've talked about her ability to go cross from the right side, but just her strength and able to power it through the blocks has been on display as well.
Right. I think this is the largest lead we've seen from Country Day this evening. Is that correct?
Slide play, and that winds up working there as Zamjan was able to set up Zoe Mitchell for the kill, and Dominican back on the service line. Double subs here as checking back in are Rainey Smith and now the server, who will be Molly Baker. just underscores once again just how close this match has been throughout the night when you're talking about 6 being the largest lead on either side. Tough serve reception. Beverly pushes it over, but to Pipitone. Here's a swing by Mitchell. Lonnie, a good dig there from the back. Here's Loomis, a try. That's blocked. Smith was there on the right side, camped out there with Mitchell, and they combine for the tandem block. A Dominican cuts the lead down to 4.
There's a very happy medium with the set, with it being too off and too tight, and it's really important for the setter to kind of find that medium. But again, that's a very difficult thing to do when you're setting multiple times throughout the rally.
Mitchell off the deflection, dug out by Loomis. Beverly had to reach back and still able to put it down. Leah Beverly had to reach kind of behind herself that time to get the kill, but she's able to manage it on that occasion.
Well, she comes in and she kind of opens up her shoulders throughout her approach, so she's able to have that, ability to get her arm behind the ball because she's opening up so well. But again, just a very athletic play from her.
Meanwhile, a service error for Country Day that time. That was Hayden Moore on the serve. And now Dominican with Tortorich will serve here. One sizable service rotation could certainly change the complexion of this set either way, whichever it falls, as Beverly's swing. Diving to dig that one was Tortorich, and now Briglio off the block touch. Schneider jousted back over, pinball back, and then winds up going wide out of bounds from Schneider, and a point for Dominican.
You can see this is a very high level of playing. You don't normally see these type of jousts at the net between the blockers that you do at a high school level. You normally see that as more of like a college or professional level, so it's really impressive that these girls are able to do that.
Tough serve, and it winds up being an ace, and that'll force a timeout here from Coach Ibieta. Well, like we talked about, one service rotation can change the complexion of this set either way. Dominican has changed what was once a 6-point Country Day advantage down to 2. It's 18-16. And of course, if Country Day is able to hold on and win this one, we're going to go to a winner-take-all 5th set in a race to 15 points. But Country Day going to have to get themselves there first. And for the Cajuns, like we talked about at the outset of the match, it's going to have to start right back to the basics with serve receive.
Yeah, I think the kind of double whammy that's going on over here for Dominican not really able to put the ball down on offense is having Beverly and Gamble in at the same time. You know, they went on that really long service run with both of the girls in at the same time. They were able to accumulate a lot of blocks and a lot of good swings on their offense.
Tortorich back to serve once again for Dominican. 18-16 Country Day. High serve, Lonnie receives it, slide play, here's Beverly, that one is dug out by Baker, now Pipitone sets it outside the pin, off the high block touch, dug out in the back, here's a set for Beverly, and that is pushed deep and down for the kill. Again, Beverly goes deep middle. Yeah,
again, really just good court vision and high IQ from Beverly. She can kind of see through her peripheral where there's an open spot on the court and place it there, and it just causes a lot of chaos and lack of communication on the other side.
And now Beverly back in the service line for Country Day. Her serve goes over to Pipitone. Now Baker will set this one back, and it winds up being a kill for Zoe Mitchell.
That was a really, really good offensive play by Dominican. Zoe Mitchell got up really quick and fast, found a gap in the block, and was able to just place the ball down. Didn't take much power, but that was really good high IQ play.
Now Mitchell's serve. That one really got up that time, but able to stay with it was Country Day. Now a try, and that one just dug out, but then could not be kept alive as Dominican. A couple of players just kind of crashed into each other there, trying to keep the ball alive, hustling everybody, but really it's just about the communication, which becomes a lot tougher when you have a lot less time to do it.
Right.
Schneider back to serve here for the Cajuns. 20-17 Country Day, serve received, and now set up from Baker. This for Briglio, and that's a kill for Maya Briglio.
We could see the fight from Dominican to really put themselves back in the game, tie up the score, hopefully even get themselves to push to the end. We have Zamjon back to serve. She's got a really good, powerful floats standing serve. Hopefully she can get a few points off of that.
Rachel Zomjon serves, sent over. That was received by Moore. Now set up for Gamble, and that is blocked. Huge block on the outside there on the right. Finley Nunez along with Miley Clayton.
That's another block for Clayton. She's accumulated a good amount throughout this match. She's really been good at setting up her feet and pressing, especially when the outside hitter is hitting.
Dominican down to a 1-point deficit. Country Day holding on by the skin of their teeth right now as it's set up here. Set back for Gamble. A diving dig in the back row. Zomjon hustles to it. Briglio a try. Off the block touch. Having to readjust to it was Moore. Here's a try. That is blocked. And that time Clayton was on the other side with Briglio. And a timeout will be called by Coach Ibieta. Miley Clayton has been everywhere those last couple of rallies on the front row. That time covering the opposite side there with Briglio for the huge block to tie the score 20.
Yeah, Clayton's been huge when it comes to Dominican's defense. I think that she's kind of locked into the zone right now. You know, she's feeling the flow of the game. She's just setting her feet up perfectly. She's pressing where she needs to be pressing. She's doing a really good job on defense of not letting Country Day come back and, you know, score a point on offense.
2-1, Dominican leads it. They're tied in this set. Fourth set at 20 all. Zomjon, serve that goes into the net. And a big point for Country Day to get the lead back. And now Loomis is going to come back in here on rotation for Moore. Back to serve Nunez.
Hopefully Dominican can just focus on this pass set inside out.
Set it up here, and that's a deep swing. Dominican half-hearted appeal for a touch. And Country Day will be awarded a point, no touch.
I think the call they were debating was that it was a deep swing in, and yeah, it just went a little long.
Country Day back on the service line here with Nunez. 22-20 Cajuns. Deep serve, Pipitone receives, Zomjon sets it up here for a big kill for Clayton, and Dominican back on serve here within one.
Hopefully they can kind of catch up to the lead that they lost a little bit, tie it up and push back. Here we have Maya back to serve. She's been really huge with the service pressure. She got a nice, good float serve going deep.
Deep angle serve that time was received, and now set up for Gamble off the high block touch. There's Corrette. Zomjon going to set this one up for a swing from Finley Nunez, and from inside at the net, Schneider couldn't play off of it again. That's one of those that just kind of skimmed the net there. Makes it tougher for Schneider to play off of it, and she was really running to try to get to that ball as well, having a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, that was a good swing from Nunez. She had a lot of power on that. Their defense wasn't able to absorb the ball, and it did end up going tight.
Free ball just sent over by White. Now punching it over was Clayton, and a point for Dominican, a lift violation on the Cajuns. The assistant coaches on the Country Day bench rising up in a bit of argument there, it seemed like, and now Dominican 23-22 with the lead. Angle serve, tough reception that time. Now set it up for White. That was dug out by Zomjon. Here's Corrette. That one is dug out at the back here by Schneider. Now Gamble a try, a diving dig by Briglio. Nunez with a swing cross court. Nice sliding dig that time by Sinet. From in tight, it's Loomis. There's Briglio. Zomjon sets it up. Clayton dug out by Schneider. Running it down Sinet. Two-hand push Gamble over. Zomjon digs. Here's Pipitone. The bump set it back for Nunez. Rolling dig that time by Sinet. And now Gamble. Pipitone scrambles to that one. Here's Corrette. Very high over the block. Dugout kept going. Here's White. That's dugout Briglio. Zomjon sets it up. And there's the kill for Miley Clayton.
What a play by Clayton. That was pretty incredible to see her still wanting to be aggressive and swing even though that rally was going long. A lot of girls started tipping, wanting to just get the ball down, but maybe getting a little timid and shy, not wanting to lose that such a crucial point, but she was able to stay aggressive.
Two shots at match point here, and now Gamble going to try to save one of them, and she will. Jane Gamble saves one. Well, the first of two match points that Dominican has.
Now all Dominican has to do is just side out this 1 point. Let's see if they can kind of get into the zone, lock in, and get their side out.
Lonnie angles serve. That one goes back. Briglio calls for it. Leads one into Nunez. That's blocked. Beverly was there along with Gamble, and that's what you touched on as a timeout now called by Coach Chatelier. That was the combination of Beverly and Gamble that has been so effective defensively with their blocks and their block touches. And that time, a huge block to save the second match point and force this set into extra rallies.
Offensively, I can't imagine Coach Chatelier wanting her setter to continue setting her outside with such big blockers, Crescent on the outside hit. I would imagine that she would want her setter to either, push a slide, push a 1 to the middle, or even, push a to the right side, a 5.
24-24. Both teams have used their allotment of timeouts. Is Dominican going to push through in extra rallies, or will Country Day force a deciding 5th set? Here's Lonnie's serve. It goes over to Pipitone, and now Zamjan. Time to set this one. High block touch off the swing, and then trying to keep it alive. It just goes over to the Dominican side. Beverly pushes it back, kept alive, and a free ball over. Now Beverly, she had to reach back for it. Country Day appealing for a violation there. They don't get one. Now Beverly rattles the tape and gets it down. It's so often when you get in these high-intensity rallies, sometimes it can become a little bit scattered, but Beverly able to keep the pressure on Dominican throughout that rally.
She's a really strong mentality. She's a really, really, really athletic player, and she's able to just push through.
Line drive serve handled pretty well. Now set it up for a kill attempt that goes. That is Clayton with a big answer.
This is the battle of the middles. We have Clayton on one side staying aggressive and swinging throughout the whole game, and then we have Beverly on the other, with the high IQ with the shots and just being able to read really well offensively.
Pipitone angle serve. Country Day just handles it. Now Beverly dug out by Briglio. Set it up here for Mitchell, and that's going to be a kill as it went back off of Schneider's dig attempt. Big kill by Zoe Mitchell. She's had a couple of clutch ones here tonight. Brings up a 3rd opportunity at match point for Dominican.
We have Pipitone back to serve. Crucial server for Dominican. Hopefully she can pull out a serving ace on this one.
Pipitone, Dominican trying to end it right here. Lonnie receives, and now a bump set here. Loomis from outside the pin deep. Pipitone tips it up in the air. Running to it was Zamjan. Free ball sent over, and that one winds up being a point for Dominican as it went sideways off of Lonnie, and Dominican holds on for a huge 3-1 win, 27-25 over Country Day, and they extract a little bit of revenge after Country Day had beaten them earlier this season. Dominican defends their home court tonight. What a night here on both sides. We expected such high-intensity volleyball, and it delivered for 4 very breathtaking sets tonight.
Yeah, really great game by both teams. I'm very impressed with the defense, with the offense coming from both sides of the net, with how they're just so able to run their middles so smoothly, and the flow from both sides of the net was very, very good, and really well-rounded players everywhere on the court.
And Skylar, your final thoughts on this one before we sign off on just what we've seen overall tonight. First of all, for both of these teams and going forward, it certainly doesn't change anything in their goals that they have ahead. We talked about the fact that these two teams are defending state champions within their respective divisions, but it's just really able to test themselves and able to get themselves that one big final test or a couple of big final tests before the playoffs start here.
Yeah, I think that, being able to go up and face against each other before the playoffs start is just crucial, because that's exactly the type of teams that they're going to be facing in the playoffs. These high-intensity, high-level matches they're going to be having throughout the entirety of the playoffs. And what's really important is that they just continue to keep a very strong mentality where they're focusing 1 point on a time on the point that is presently occurring, not on the future, not on the past point. And just being able to continue to keep a fast-paced offense and limit the chaos and the mistakes on their side of the court, while also, staying really aggressive and not being afraid to attack the ball or afraid to serve the ball tough or anything like that.
Skylar Ensign, thank you very much. Of course, this has been a pleasure to be able to broadcast this match with you. Just a great match that we were able to witness tonight. Thank you very much, of course, for tonight and for your great work and analysis.
Well, thank you.
Well, for Skylar Ensign, thank you to Matt Merritt as well. Thanks to the folks at Dominican High School for having us here. Emmanuel Pepis signing off here for CrescentCitySports.com. Once again, your final score, 3-1. Dominican takes it 25-21, 22-25, 25-22, and 27-25 in set number 4. This has been a presentation of high school volleyball on CrescentCitySports.com. So long, everyone.